Okay, I am going to show how to make the octopus out of my book. And I'm actually going to do the simplified version where the upper side is one color and the lower side is the lighter color. So I'm going to be using blue and I'm going to be using a multicolor for my bottom. And I'm going to be using the 1/4 inch gauge 24 peg loom, but any 24 peg loom will work, any. Okay. I'm using thinner yarn for the most part to do this, okay? So, what it says to do is it says to start off with a hat color, but if I'm not doing the little hat, I want to do just the main color. So you're going to start off with the main color, and you're going to do 24 pegs circular with the main color. You're going to draw a string cast on 24 pegs, okay? And it says that if you're not doing the hat, to knit for 8 rows. Okay, and we will go from there, okay? So, going in and getting this started. Okay, now at this point it says, note if you do not want to do the hat, stick with the main color, which I've got, and knit for 8 rows, then start on row 9. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and knit for 8 rows. So this is row 1. So go ahead and pause the video and knit for 8 rows, and then we will come in and do row 9. Okay. Let me look at my notes real quick. Actually, no. Row 9 is just taking off with what you did on the first one. If you do not want the beard, stick with the main color and just knit rows 19 through 24. Okay, so we're going to skip all of that. We're going to skip the beard, we're going to skip the hat, and actually what you're going to do is you're going to knit rows 1 through 24. So you're going to knit for 24 rows, okay? So real simple, just knit for 24 rows, okay? Now that I look at it, there's a lot you can skip. So we're going to really simplify this octopus pattern, okay? So go ahead and pause the video, knit for 24 rows, and when we come back, we should be getting ready to start the legs, and I'm going to show you a special technique for that so that you don't have to sew up later. Okay, I have completed rows 1 through 24, as you can see here. Pretty simple. If you're not going to do all the fancy hat and beard and that kind of thing, just a simple octopus, 24. And now we're ready to start our legs. And so here's the thing. Your leg is going to start with your main color, okay? And it says that you're going to knit 3 for 30 rows, and then you're going to change to the underbelly color, and you're going to knit the underbelly color for 3, knit 3 for 31 rows, and then bring original loop back on pegs 1 and 3 only, and then you're going to repeat this short row technique for 8 total times, okay? So you have a BOLB on your first and last stitches, and I really don't want to be bothered with doing a seam to sew up. So you knit 3 to get started. You put a original loop back, you put a stitch marker on peg 1 and 3. Alright, so for every slip you do, you want to place a stitch marker. Alright, so you place a stitch marker. Now you do not have to do this, you can just go in and knit the 30 rows and then change the underbelly color and then knit for 31 rows. Okay, so you can do that and then just sew up later, but I find with how narrow these legs are, it's probably just best to do this method. So every time you slip a stitch, you want to put a stitch marker in there. Okay. Every slip you do at the beginning of a row. Okay, so I'm slipping here, I slipped on that last row, and then I'm going to knit my way over. Alright, and then I'm going to be slipping and putting another one on. Alright, and you're going to do this for a total of 30 rows. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and keep in mind I show you this one leg. I'm not going to show you all 8 legs. I'm just going to show you how to do one leg, and then you're going to do the next leg here, and the next leg here, and the next leg here, all the way around, okay? And that's how you're going to do this, okay? So go ahead and pause the video, get your 30 rows done in the main color. Every time you slip a stitch, put in a stitch marker, alright? And when we come back, we'll be ready to do the other half of the leg, okay? And I'll show you that section. So pause the video, get your 30 rows done of your main color, and when we come back we'll be ready to do the underside of the leg. Okay, I have done my 30 rows, as you can see, if I can get it to focus. 30 rows. Okay, so I'm ready to change color and do my underbelly color, and I have my color here. And what I'm going to do is a fisherman's knot or a magic knot. And what this is going to do is going to keep it to where your color change isn't so obvious. Alright, so I'm going to do a half knot and pull this thing down to the base. Okay. And then I'm going to snip enough to where I can do a half knot around the new color. Okay. What you want to do is pull it to where it's snug. Okay. And then you want to snip the excess. Alright. Now, at this point, what you want to do is you want to find the closest stitch marker to the peg. Alright. Okay, closest stitch marker to the peg, which is right there. When you find it, you bring it back up. You bring that stitch back up. Okay. And take it out. Okay, you're still slipping and knitting. Okay, so you're going to knit the two together. Alright. Now, if you're doing the regular, you're just going to switch it and just knit for those 30 rows. But what you want to do is you want to find the closest stitch marker to the peg every time. So you slip one, knit two together. find your next closest stitch marker, which is right here, okay, and you're going to just pull that back. Because what you're doing is you're building back up. Now, if you're doing this and you want the legs to move around and be shaped, you'll want to get you some pipe cleaners and shove them up in the legs later. And that's how you can mold the legs to do whatever you want, like I did in the book. So you slip, knit one, knit the two together, and you just continue this process until you are down to your last two stitch markers. And when you are, then you will come back to the video and I will show you how to continue to move to the next leg. And then I'm going to leave you to do the next 7 legs, okay? Because once you've done one, it's just a repeat over and over again. Okay, looks like the stitch marker's hidden behind a whole bunch. Alright, so what you want to do is pause the video and get this done. And if you're doing the simple version, you just knit for 31 rows, excuse me. And then it will be ready to move to the next section, okay? So pause the video and get that much done. Okay, I have knitted my way back. Here's my leg. If you want a longer leg, just do more rows. You can add 10 more rows to it. And as you can see, I have my 2 stitch markers left, okay? And then I'm just going to put that one and that one up on page 1 and 3, okay? So that's how you finish that leg. And if you're wanting to see exactly what I managed to do, I'm going to take this paintbrush and I'm going to stick it in there so that you can see what I did. See? It's all there's no sewing involved. I find that makes it so much easier. Okay, well now that we've finished with that, we need to change back to our main color, okay? So we're going to do the same magic knot system that we just did. We're going to do it again. We're going to do a half knot. And you're going to pull it down as close to the base as possible and tighten it. Then you're going to take scissors and you're going to cut just enough to be able to do a half knot on the original color, okay? Now if you want to make it all one color and not do all this color changing thing, you don't have to. You don't have to do that. So then you're going to just take this half knot as close to the base as possible. Alright. Then what you're going to do is you're going to pull it until it won't pull anymore. Try not to pull it so hard you break the yarn. Okay, once you do that, then you can go in and cut it fairly short. Okay. Alright. Then what you'll want to do is go in and loosen up those stitches, okay? And then you should be ready to start again. So then you're going to take the next 3 stitches and you're going to put a stitch marker on pegs 1 and 3. And then you just start going again, okay? Now, that's where you repeat what we just did with the other leg, and you're just going to do that total of 7 more times all the way around so that you have a total of 8 legs. Okay? So go ahead and pause the video and complete the rest of your legs, which should put you right back here. Okay? And then we'll be ready to move on to row 26. Yeah, we'll be ready to move on to row 26. And what you might be surprised about is if you're not doing a little hat and beard, this pattern works pretty fast. So go ahead and pause the video and complete your legs, and when we come back, we'll finish up our octopus. Okay, now you can see your legs emerging. Isn't that so cute? You got your little body there, and you got your legs. Okay. And now we're just going to stay with that underbelly color. Okay. Now I believe where we are to, we've just completed our legs. Now what you want to do is you want to take your underbelly color, and you just want to knit your stitches all the way around. And if you run into 2 stitches, you knit both of them over. Okay, that's where you're going to see that knit 2 together and then knit 1. Okay, and then knit 1 and then knit 2 together and then knit 2 together again. Okay, what you're doing is you're getting all your stitches down to 1 stitch. Okay, so that is what that row is. Now, after that, you have rows, you have 2 rows of just knitting, and then you do a prep decrease. Okay, so I will show you that. This video is kind of short because we kept it the simple way. Stuffing it will be a little bit more complicated because you're going to be adding pipe cleaners in to give it that unique look where you can mold the legs. Okay, so we've got all our stitches back down to 1. Now, if you're wondering if every single one of them is what it's supposed to be, you can stick it down in there, and you can see it goes through, right? And there is no seaming, okay, as you can see. Right. Does that with all of them. That's the benefit of doing that method I showed you. You don't have to sit there and sew. Alright, so at this point, you got everything down to where it's supposed to be, and then you just want to knit for 2 rows. And then you're going to do what I call a prep decrease, which is going to halve your stitches. Then you're going to drawstring bind off, but you're not going to close it off completely. You're going to stuff from the bottom. You're going to want to close off the top. I'll show you how to do all that. And there'll be a lot of seamed shaping to indent the eyes more and make it more realistic looking, I think is what y'all would be interested in. The one that I did in the book was a fun character for a friend of mine, but you can really simplify this pattern to where it doesn't have the hat and it doesn't have the beard and that kind of thing. You can work this to where it looks more realistic, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, we just won't have the webbing in between the legs, and I'm sure if you really wanted it, you could add the webbing. Okay, we've done our 2 rows of knit. All right, So now we're going to do a prep decrease where you knit 2 stitches. You take it back 1, toss the bottom loop over, and move it over 1. Knit the next 2 stitches. Take it back 1, toss the bottom loop over, and move it over 1. Knit the next 2 stitches. Take it back 1, toss the bottom loop over, and move it over 1. You're going to do this all the way around. Alright. Next thing, you're going to cut your tail and drawstring bind off. So all you're going to do is toss over. But now, you're not going to drawstring it tight because you're going to want to stuff from the bottom. Okay? So you toss that over and pull your tail through. Okay. Yeah, here's your little octopus. Alright. Here's where you're going to need to gather some supplies. You may want to use some little eyes. You'll want to use some pipe cleaners. And probably 8 pipe cleaners, I think, is what I have written in my notes. Because this one's so small, it may only take 1 pipe cleaner, but usually 1 pipe cleaner folded in half and twisted makes it stronger and more moldable. So you'll want to get your pipe cleaner, you want to get your polyfill, you want to get your eyes. I'm probably going to paint in eyes on this when I go in to do my shaping. In the book, I actually tell you how to go about making your own mini loom hook if you wanted to make it exact, but I'm not going to go over that with this. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you need to get your rest of your supplies together, and we'll finish this up. Okay, I have my supplies, I have my polyfill, I have my 8 pipe cleaners, got my needle. Alright, so what I suggested in the book was to take and fold your pipe cleaner in half, but you may want to, if you did the 5/8 inch, you may want to use 2 pipe cleaners not folded in half. Okay, you probably are going to have longer, thicker legs, and it'll probably work a little differently. So what you'll want to do is you want to find your leg and start trying to shove that in there. Okay. And because this is narrower than what I originally did, was on a 3/8 inch gauge loom. So, oh, well, that certainly helped. Okay. A guide, open your leg up and then try again. Alright, I'm going to cut that. Fold that down, smooth that out some. And I'll stick my paintbrush in there so that it gives it room to go through. Try to make sure you don't go through the end. Pull it back a little bit if it looks like it's going to go through. Alright. Okay. I'm going to cut that again. So, if you're doing the 1/4 inch gauge or smaller, you probably won't need all that many. Okay. All right. Just take the first one here. Okay. So if you're working with the smaller gauge, you probably just want to stick something in there to open that up, and then just stick it in. I find that really did the number. Okay. And then you just cut it fairly short. Okay. So you're going to do that all the way around. Open up the leg, fold your end a little bit so that it's a little smoother to go in, and then send it through. Try not to send it all the way through, just to the end. Okay. Alright, so you're going to want to do that with all 8 legs, okay? And I have already done 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and get your pipe cleaner in all 8 legs. Okay, and then we'll come back and we'll show you how to close off the top a little better. Alright, and then we'll go in and stuff. Alright? Okay, I have done my pipe cleaner in all my legs, and now I need to go in and close up my head. Okay, and when you're doing 24 pegs, it's generally a star method, so you're going to go down to the side. It's just like drawing a star. Okay, to close up that last little bit. Alright, to the side and to the bottom. Okay, and then when you tighten it up, you can see it completely closes up. And one more. Okay, then you're going to send it through the middle. Okay. Alright, and then I'm going to go in, I'm going to tie that off, and then I'm going to be ready to stuff. The last little bit is shaping and that kind of thing, which is really not that bad. Okay, so I'm going to pull that through and just knot that off. Okay, and I'm actually not going to cut it. I'm going to use it as stuffing. Alright, so now we're just going to stuff it like you normally would. Okay. And it's not necessary to stuff it excessively, okay? Alright. Once you feel you have it stuffed enough, then you'll be ready to go in and close up the bottom. Okay? Alright. Now, I'm going to use my closed up bottom area to finish this up. I'm also going to use it to do my shaping a little bit, get my eyes in there and that kind of thing. Okay. Alright. So, we have our legs. And it's when you're done that you can shape your legs and really do some fancy stuff with them. Okay. First I need to tie this off. I can keep the legs out of there. Okay. Okay. So once you get this good and tied off. I'm going to kind of fold my legs out of the way so this makes it a little easier. Then you can go in and start kind of shaping it. Okay, now, if you look at an octopus, its eyes are usually down here. There's usually a little bit more of a fold back like that. So let's see if we can't create that look. So we're going to go up here and we're going to find a spot we like for our eyes, because it's pretty much the same all around. You just got to decide. Okay. Now I'm going to go back through the bottom on this, so it pushes the eyes down. You see that? That's what we want. Okay. Now you decide exactly where you want your other eye, and they're kind of close together. Gauge where you want your other cinched eye area. Now, if you're doing the safety eyes, then you're going to want to put those in first, and then you do this above and below. Okay, so there is your cute little eye area. All right, now what we want to do is try to do more of a shaping back here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to send that through, and we're going to send it up in here, and we're going to send that back down. Okay, and then we're going to pull it. Okay, and then you're going to go up again and go to the next spot. I'm just going to try to generally do this all the way around the head. Okay. Okay, so keep in mind, there's your eyeballs, which I'm going to go in and paint in black because their eyes aren't very big. But right now I'm going in and trying to add that shaping. So I think I need to do that at least one more time to complete. Oops, I got a leg involved. To complete that shaping. Okay. All right. There you have that. All right. So we have some shaping going on here, and so there we have our eyes and legs. And if you feel like you need to find a way to pull that down, you can take some of your base color and get that down some to where it's more like that. You can pull it down. Okay. Alright, so we got our eye area here. Okay. When you feel like you have that shaping down the way you want, and I think I do, then you're going to just go ahead and tie this off. I'm going to move my legs out of the way and reshape them in place. Okay. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3. Pull that down. Then I'm going to send that through and then cut it. Okay. Send that through. And then I usually pull that down. I'm going to cut my stitches up. Okay, then pull it back up. Alrighty. Okay, and at this point you can shape your legs. Okay. Okay. So you can shape your legs however you want, and then you'll want to go in and do your eyes. Okay. And that general shaping should be right. And that is how you make an octopus.